Hey friends, my name is Shayla. Today I am here with another unhaul for you. As you heard about in a previous video, sorry I'm adjusting here a little bit. As you heard about in a previous video, I went a little book buying mad in April. After doing that, I realized there's some books on my shelves that just didn't make me happy anymore. And then I also looked at my to be read shelf, and there are a few books that I've completely lost interest in, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those as well. You guys tend to like seeing unhauls from me, so I'm going to go ahead and unhaul this stack of books for you. And when I unhaul, I either donate them to local schools or my local library. My local library isn't state funded at this point, so all donations strictly go to getting them to state accreditation so they can actually be a bigger library. So that's why I'm doing all of this. And also just because I'm running out of room on my shelves again. And when I get to that point, I look at my shelves, and if something doesn't make me happy, I'm more prone to get rid of it. I don't still have it, but I have unhauled To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han since my last unhaul. And that book just, I tried. I DNF'd it. I'm not going to go into a lot of elaboration on that. I will leave the video linked where I talked about that a little bit more as to my reasons why, so you can go ahead and check that out. So first up is a young adult series that I don't really have any passion to reread ever. I enjoyed it when I read it, but I also think by the time my kids are reading, it's going to be pretty dated and it's not going to connect with them as well because it's already starting to not connect with the current generation. And that is the Uglies series by Scott Westerfeld. And these are the original, really half face covers. So they're not pretty covers. I don't think the story's going to hold up in a few years. And by the time my kids are teenagers and wanting to read, I doubt these are books they would want to pick up because they're not even books I'm super passionate about. So I'm going to go ahead and unhaul this series. Next up, we have Never Ever by Sarah Sadie. I believe this was a Peter Pan reimagining or retelling of some sort, and I have no desire. It's been on my shelf over a year. I've never even tried to pick it up, and I was on a retelling binge a while back when I was buying books, like a year and a half ago, and I believe this was picked up then, and I just never got around to it. Clearly I'm not that interested if I haven't picked it up yet, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give this one a pass. Next up is Raising Fire by James Bennett. This is actually book 2 in a series. I didn't know it was book 2 when I picked it up. I read the description for book 1 and didn't really have any interest. I originally got it because cool cover, dragons. I was kind of all about that for a minute. And I just don't have any interest in the series anymore, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this one. Another book that I picked up and ended up having no interest in it after I heard a few reviews was Stealing Snow by Danielle Page. I've not read any of Danielle Page's books, and I know this is a Snow Queen retelling. I have no interest because I believe there are better Snow Queen retellings out there from people who have read this and other Snow Queen retellings that I trust, and we have similar tastes in books. So I think I'm just going to let this one go. Next up is The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer. I really enjoyed Stephanie Meyer's writing. I liked The Host. I loved the Twilight series initially when it came out. Yes, it's problematic. Let's not talk about it. But I was really interested in The Chemist, and the more I've heard about it, the more it's not my kind of book. So I'm just going to go ahead and let this one go. As you can see, I am a Barnes & Noble member, so I actually got this 40% off when it first came out. And yeah, it's been out a long time and still no interest, so bye-bye. Next up are a couple volumes of manga that I read, but either I didn't enjoy them or I know I'm not going to continue on in the series. And the first one is Magi, Magi. And this one is just a little too fan servicey for my personal tastes. So I know I'm not going to continue on with the series, and I don't really have any desire to own this particular volume either. So I'm going to go ahead and let it go. And the other one is Manga Shakespeare, Much Ado About Nothing. I have a full like spoiler-free review of this one. So I will go ahead and leave that link there for you, and that'll give you a pretty good understanding why I'm not keeping this on my shelf. Next up are a couple of books that I originally got in an indie book subscription box. I read them, I enjoyed them when I read them, but I know that these aren't books I'll most likely revisit. So because they are indie authors, I want to send them on. These ones are intentionally going to the library to expose these authors to more people. And so I have The Surrendered by Case Maynard and In Rule by Holly Sparks. Again, I did enjoy both of these books, but I know I'm not going to revisit them, so I've decided to send them on so that more people are exposed to these indie authors. Next up is Reign of Shadows by Sophie Jordan. Again, this is one that I enjoyed when I initially read it. I don't have any interest in continuing on with the series, even though when I first started I initially did, but all interest for that has been lost. Yes, the cover's beautiful, but I'm not going to keep it on my shelf if I know I'm never going to revisit the book. I'm not going to continue on with the series. There's just no reason, despite its beautiful cover and my Bookstagram account. Next up is not exactly a love story by Audrey Columbus. This is a very stereotypical love story. It has a slightly stalker-ish element to it. It's not truly stalker, but it's just like a shy boy finally coming out of his shell, and it comes across slightly stalkery. But it was cute. It was fun when I read it. It's nothing earth-shattering. I'm just going to send it on to my library and hope that somebody else can enjoy it as much as I can. I got this on Book Outlet for like $1, so I do not feel bad donating it. Next up is Longborn by Jo Baker. Again, this wasn't a bad book. It was just one that I know that I'm never going to revisit. This is about the staff of Longborn from Pride and Prejudice. And it has a very Downton Abbey kind of feel to it. This was published at the height of Downton Abbey. I really enjoyed it for what it was. But again, this is not one that I will revisit. It was fun, but not earth-shattering or something that I'll revisit. So I think I'm just going to let it leave and let somebody else enjoy this beautiful book. Next up is a poetry collection, and that is Uncaged Wallflower by Janae Cecilia. This is a fair poetry collection. It's little itty bitty tiny, but I know it's one I'm not going to really like revisit. The poems didn't call to me like I hoped they would, and so I'm just going to send this one on and let somebody else enjoy it. Again, I only spent a couple dollars on this one, and so I don't feel bad sending it on. Okay, friends, you can't crucify me for doing this because I've wanted to do this for about a year. And it's finally happening. So I am unhauling my Hunger Games collection. This particular series is not one that I really want to revisit. It wasn't well written enough for me to go back to over and over again. The movies are out now. I'm pretty sure that I just am not going to revisit the books, and I'm okay with that. So I'm going to send these on, let somebody else enjoy them, and let it be. Next up is Anna by Megan Riley. This is one that the author kindly sent to me. She sent me the sequel, which I've already unhauled. Originally, I was going to keep this first one, but the longer it's on my shelf, the more I'm like, I know I'm not going to revisit this. And as fun as it was to receive it from the author, I would rather the author get some more exposure. So again, this is one that will intentionally be going to the library so that more people can get exposed to her in this series, and they can just go and enjoy it. Next up is a poetry collection, and that is The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one. You guys know my thoughts on this. Again, I will leave the wrap-up video in which I talk about this. The best video to talk about it in is probably my unpopular opinions according to Goodreads. This one falls into that category, so I will leave that linked for you so you can get more of my thoughts. Next up are a couple of mass market paperbacks that I picked up either at library sales or just kind of like dollar bookstores. Like, I didn't spend a lot of money on either of these three. So I'm just going to go ahead and show them to you. I've got Dance With Me by Luann Rice, Burning Wild by Christine Feehan, and Turbulent Sea by Christine Feehan. Christine Feehan has another series that I like, and I do have a couple mass market paperbacks from that series on my shelf. But I didn't really enjoy either of these, so I'm going to go ahead and send them on. These are smutty romance books. If you're into that, go ahead and give them a try. Christine Feehan does do great, but her Carpathian series is my favorite. And then Dance With Me by Luann Rice. It's in the middle of another series, and I didn't enjoy it. It's not really my thing. I tend to fall into the paranormal smutty romance factor that I really like the best, and this is not that. It's more historical fiction smutty romance. So just not really my thing, so I'm sending it on. Okay, I've got one more series, well, a set of companion novels that I'm going to unhaul, and then one other kind of romance novel, and then we'll be done here. So nothing too crazy, but I did feel like I needed to calm my shelves a little bit. So I've got the Anna and the French Kiss series, all 3 of them in the series. Though I enjoyed each of them for what they were as I read them, again, these are not ones I would revisit very often. I mean, they're fun, but there are problematic things in each of them. Lola is probably the least problematic series. Isla was a very realistic depiction, and there's cheating that happens in the first one. So it's not something I really want to keep on my shelf, so I'm just not going to keep it on my shelf. So as cute as they are, that's where I stand. And last but not least is The Last Song by Nicholas Sparks. Again, I like Nicholas Sparks books on occasion. This is one I've had on my shelf for a while. I do like the book better than the movie, but I'm more prone to revisit the movie than the book. So that's kind of where I'm at with this one, so off it goes. Okay guys, that is my unhaul today. I'm just going to call it my spring cleaning unhaul because that's kind of what's going on. I've been ready to kind of declutter in my house, and so the bookshelves are part of that. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments down below books that you are ready to unhaul, and I will talk to you in the next one. Have a great day.